Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over how to kill PC players if you play on console. As if that wasn't hard enough in the past, I think that the addition of the charged shotgun into the game at the beginning of Season 3 has made it even more difficult now. That's a weapon that mouse and keyboard PC players have a huge advantage with, and it can be really difficult to outplay people who have sort of mastered that weapon. Plus, even though we can't say for sure, a lot of console players also believe that aim assist was weakened to some degree at the beginning of the season as well, so if that's true, then there's yet another factor working against console players. So I know fighting against PC players is always going to feel like an uphill battle, but I truly believe the tips in this video will help you, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about in this video is the importance of playing aggressive and constantly applying pressure. There's a reason why a lot of the top mouse and keyboard players always complain about how aggressive controller players are. It's not because they just totally hate them, it's because that aggressiveness is the best way to counter their preferred playstyle. Most mouse and keyboard players like to play a slow and tactical style of Fortnite that takes advantage of their platform's biggest strengths. They want to keep you at a distance, play angles, take advantage of left side peeks, and just sort of pepper you with charged shotgun shots while being almost entirely protected the entire time. If you let them get set up, get comfortable, and allow them to play that playstyle, they're going to basically pick you apart 9 out of 10 times, and it's going to be the most frustrating thing in the world to play against. So how do you counter someone who wants to play really slow and tactical? Well, your best bet in most situations is to apply pressure and prevent them from ever getting comfortable. I want to show you a clip in the background from a recent gameplay I got that's a perfect example of what I mean by that. As soon as I get this guy moving backwards, even before I deal any damage, I'm not letting him breathe for even half a second, and finally when he loses track of where I'm pushing from because it's just constant pressure, it gives me the chance to easily clean up the kill. If I had played a bit more passive and given him even just 2 to 3 seconds to sort of compose himself and set up, he could have peanut butter edited me, held his charged shotgun at full charge just waiting for me to push, or done a variety of other things. It isn't a coincidence that guys like Scoped, Wavy Jacob, and Furious are known for their W key based playstyle. They know they're going to be fighting against mouse and keyboard players all the time, so they realize how important constantly pressuring them really is. Another important advantage controller players have over mouse and keyboard players that you want to abuse is close range movement. Playing with thumbsticks does come with a decent amount of disadvantages in a game like Fortnite, but when it comes to movement, they're unmatched. A thumbstick allows you to move a full 360 degrees in any direction almost instantly, and the amount of pressure you put on the thumbstick determines how fast or slow you move. But for mouse and keyboard players, it's a totally different story. Most of them have their movement bound to the W, S, A, and D keys for forward, backwards, left, and right movement, and the main reason that's problematic is because it makes it really difficult to move in wacky directions. With a thumbstick, it's really easy to strafe in random directions at varying speed without even really putting much effort into it. On keyboard though, it definitely isn't impossible, but it's a lot more difficult and takes a bit more focus. So this movement advantage is something that you need to take advantage of in as many close range fights as possible. Things like strafing in random unpredictable directions, jumping, randomly crouching and uncrouching, pretty much all of those techniques are going to be more effective on controller than they will be on mouse and keyboard. And I think that relates very heavily to the last tip about applying constant pressure, because if you do that, you're going to end up in a lot of close range fights, and that's great because it gives you a lot of opportunities to take advantage of controller movement. Another important thing that you need to understand the importance of is piece control in box fights. I've said it a million times before. Mouse and keyboard PC players are always going to have a significant advantage in box fights. Because of that, it's a pretty big problem for console players that box fighting has become exponentially more important ever since around the beginning of Chapter 2, and that's largely do to everybody playing Clix' box fighting map. Now sure, you can try your best to turn fights into build battles for high ground, which is something I definitely encourage, but if the enemy doesn't get baited into that and just decides to box up like most mouse and keyboard players will, you now really only have two options: take the box fight or, I guess, run away. Now, I have talked before about just spraying and phasing into an enemy's box, which is a really powerful technique for console players specifically, but that definitely isn't something you want to do at the very beginning of a fight. Most smart PC players will just hold their shotty at max charge and dare you to jump into their box, so that's a play that you only want to make when you know that they're at least somewhat weak and they're trying to heal/play defensively. Now, it's fairly obvious that when it comes to box fighting, mouse and keyboard players have the main advantage when it comes to quick editing and shotgun aim. That's just one of the harsh realities that we need to accept of playing with thumbsticks, and sadly, those two skills that I just mentioned are basically what box fights revolve around. However, one super crucial box fighting skill that mouse and keyboard players don't have a massive advantage with is piece control. Now, piece control can get very advanced, and if you watch guys like Benji and Clix, you'll see examples of that all the time. But basic piece control, on the other hand, is something that even average players can learn, and it's one of the most important skills in all of Fortnite right now. Even doing something as simple as placing one or two walls to sort of half-trap an enemy, or placing a single cone in someone's box so they can't build a ramp to protect themselves, really throws a ton of people off. It doesn't matter if someone's on 500 FPS, if they try to escape a box and you put a wall in front of their face to block them, it's over. Now, piece control does take a decent amount of practice to get comfortable with, and the way you practice it isn't as straightforward as learning something like 90s or ramp rushes would be. It's all about reacting to what your enemy does and how they move, so it's not just something you can learn by free building in a private creative world. In my opinion, the first thing you want to do to start learning the skill of piece control is to hop into a course by Candu called the Piece Control Edit Map. This is basically designed to get you into the habit of building around targets and then also possibly editing through to damage them. Now, obviously, going against a real player is going to be a lot different than a stationary robot target, but it's still a really good first step. Then after that, I'd recommend hopping into some creative-filled box fight games and specifically putting an emphasis on trying to make piece control plays. At first, you'll probably just be spamming walls near enemies without even having a plan, but that's actually a good sign that you're trying to learn. You'll probably die a lot and it might feel kinda awkward at first, but just like anything else in Fortnite, the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. And a general tip that'll help is you almost always want to build first to get piece control and then shoot your weapon. That's kind of the opposite of what most players do normally, so again, don't feel discouraged if it feels really weird at first. The next thing we need to talk about in this video is the importance of temporarily disengaging from fights that aren't going well. Now, I'm someone that absolutely hates to disengage from any fight, so I know how difficult this can be to do. It just feels like anytime you do that, you're sort of subconsciously admitting that you were getting outplayed, but in reality, a lot of times, it's by far the smartest thing to do. The thing about mouse and keyboard players is they can do everything so fast. Editing, resetting, building, flick-shotting, you name it. And because of that, situations that are looking kinda bad for you can turn into deaths before you even really have a chance to react. It's already hard enough fighting PC players in fair fights, so why would you ever willingly take a fight where you think you're already starting at a disadvantage? It could be because of your health, positioning, inventory, whatever. It may hurt your ego a bit, but what smart Fortnite players will do in that situation is realize that they're about to take a bad fight, and then they'll do everything in their power to get away and live to fight another day. And the good thing about disengaging from fights is that this is one of the areas of Fortnite where PC players are probably at a disadvantage. Medium to long range AR aim is one of the biggest weaknesses of mouse and keyboard, so you're much less likely to get lasered or double dinked if you hit a launch pad or just accidentally leave yourself exposed while escaping. So then once you've exited the initial disadvantageous fight, you can compose yourself a bit, maybe heal up, and then push back into it from a better angle. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down the comment section below. If you're a console player, do you feel like you run into PC players pretty frequently whenever you play the game, or not really? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.